Hello and welcome to the Scots Sports Show. I'm Drew Patrick. We have a fantastic show for you today, but let's start the way we always start, with the Fighting Scots of the Week. The female athlete of the week is freshman Eden Narbaval of the track and field team. She finished 9th in the 5,000-meter run at the NCAA Division II Indoor Track and Field Championships, posting a personal best time of 16:44.55 to earn a second-team All-American honors. That bettered her qualifying time of 16:48.62 at the PSAC Championships. The male Scot of the week is Kevin Atherley, who recorded career highs in both points and rebounds with 27 points and 16 rebounds in Edinburgh's victory over Auburn University to claim 7th place in the 39th annual NWBA National Intercollegiate Wheelchair Basketball Tournament. The freshman finished the tournament averaging 13 points and 8.3 rebounds per game. All right, don't go anywhere, because when we come back, we'll kick off the show. Don't go anywhere.
There's one thing you can never have sex without.
It's not something you buy.
Or something you take.
In fact, there's only one way to get it.
It has to be given to you, freely.
It's consent.
Because sex without it isn't sex.
It's rape. Consent.
If you don't get it, you don't get it. It's on us to stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
So good to see you guys. So, what's up?
Oh, we finally bought a place.
Holy cow.
You seriously have enough saved to do that?
We've been putting a little aside each month.
Jeez, at the end of the month, we have nothing left to save.
Yeah, I have no idea where it goes.
Well, you're spending a lot on...
Was it good?
Oh, God.
Oh, how is my account overdrawn?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
We dig deep. We overcome obstacles. We come together.
We prepare.
We hit the ground running. And we achieve our goals.
We train hard.
And we compete even harder.
We reach new heights.
We win.
And at Edinburgh University, we create champions on and off the field.
Welcome back to the Scots Sports Show. The women's lacrosse team started off their season last week, and they started off with a bang, going 4-0 in Coach Formato's first 4 games. We are now joined by head coach Caitlin Formato and Hannah Fitzgerald. Thank you for joining me.
You're welcome.
So let's start with those first 4 games, and to see your girls come out and for your first 4 games to get a win. What have you seen from your team in these matches?
Yeah, they're playing every game with excitement and energy. Our first 4 games, they may not have been as strong as what we're about to see, but they definitely played full out, and they never underestimated any team, which is huge.
And what did you see, Hannah?
I saw the same thing. We were really excited. Our first game, we came out very strong. Like in the locker room beforehand, we just blasted music, and we were so excited to finally start playing.
And what did it mean for you guys to get that first win for head coach Caitlin Formato?
I had a lot of emotion going over me. My best friend, which is the goalie, we hugged each other at the end of the game, and we cried a little bit because it was so exciting for us. And I think that as a whole, as a team, we were just so excited to finally get a win under our new head coach.
Mm-hmm. And for that being your first game here, and first game as a head coach, to see your team come out there and get a win, what did that mean to you?
It was super exciting. In the beginning of the game, leading up to it, even a couple nights before, my sleep was very little. It was very nerve-wracking, my very first game as a head coach. But as soon as that clock went in that first 5 minutes, I knew my team was on fire. They played phenomenal. That was definitely our best game out of those 4 games we played. Scores don't maybe reflect that, but the way they played and the way I know they can play was definitely seen in that first game. And, it was just, the excitement was overwhelming.
So as the day this is being recorded, you guys are going to travel later today to face Slippery Rock in your first PSAC match. Coach, do you feel any pressure? Because this is a very tough division, the PSAC, in your first match.
Yeah, the nerves are definitely kicking in again. You know, but I think my assistant, Kristen Flynn, and I are doing all we can to prepare them, you know, scouting Slippery Rock and doing everything we can to make sure that we have the chance to win this game. You know, I think that teams are still going to underestimate us. Hopefully, after a few games, people will stop underestimating us. But, you know, it is a little nerve-wracking. I think if we do what we have planned and stick to the game plan, we'll be all right today.
And you guys are looking to go 5-0 for the first time in program history. Do you feel any sort of pressure, Hannah, to be on that team, or do you just approach it like it's another game?
Try to approach it as another game, but we are very excited for our first PSAC game. Nervous, very nervous, I can tell you that. And I think that we want to be successful in our league this year, so I think that this game is very crucial.
And then on Saturday, you have your first home match. That is against Bloomsburg at 1 o'clock. What do you look for? Are you excited to get back on your home turf?
Yeah, I think, you know, it kind of, you have a little bit more pride when you play at home. It's our turf. We don't, you know, we don't want anyone coming in and running us over on our turf. So I think that helps because it gets the girls a little bit more pumped up, or at least I would assume it would.
Do you echo that?
Yes, definitely.
All right, well, thank you so much for joining me today, and we wish you the best of luck today and on Saturday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Don't go anywhere because the Scots Sports Show rolls along right after this.
To compete for a championship in stadiums full with cheering fans and families. To give back. To say thank you for your support. To learn, grow, and prepare for the future. Ask any NCAA student athlete what they want, and this is what they'll tell you. Ask these student athletes, and they'll say with pride, I chose Division II.
The NCAA Division II student-athlete experience goes beyond the classrooms and playing fields. It means a commitment to service and community, helping organizations like the Make-A-Wish Foundation by raising money to help grant the wishes of children with life-threatening medical conditions. Kids like Jacob.
Some student-athletes gave of their time and their energy to raise the money.
It was fun to meet Jeff Gordon.
NCAA Division II, training student-athletes for lifelong achievement.
My experience at Perico has been so great. I feel like it's really my time for school now. I tried going back to school when I first graduated from high school. I just wasn't ready.
It's closer to home. It's very much more affordable than the other colleges in the city. When I finished my degree here at Perico, it would provide me with higher pay. I can actually grow more in my company than I would if I wasn't going to school.
Perico College, affordable, career-ready education.
Welcome back to the Scots Sports Show. We are now going to talk wheelchair basketball, as last week on spring break, they were here, they were working hard. It was the 39th annual National Intercollegiate Wheelchair Basketball Championships, and we hosted it right here in Edinburgh. We are now joined by head coach Jim Glatch and member of the wheelchair basketball team, Derek Strickland. Thank you both for joining me.
Thanks for having us.
So let's start with how Edinburgh did at the wheelchair basketball event. Coach, what are your thoughts on that?
The record would indicate we didn't do well. We went 1-2 for the weekend. I was really proud of the guys, though. Played Texas Arlington, ranked #2 in the nation. Held a lead for most of the first half. We got into some foul trouble. Derek and Blake both, I left them in there as long as I could. 3 fouls. You really don't want to get a 4th foul in the first half. That changed how things would flow. Texas went on a 13-2 run to end the half, and really that was the difference in the game. We lost by 15 late in the game. We were fouling to get back into it. We got it down to 6 and 8 a couple times. So that's a really tough team. That team plays normally in the national championship game. So again, very proud of my guys' effort. The Southwest Minnesota State game was a whole different ball of wax. I really felt we played down to their level in the first half. Defensively, it was probably not our best effort of the year. We let one kid score 27 points who normally we hold to 6 or 8 points. So he had a big game against us. But again, the guys really rallied around each other, fought hard. I thought the officials missed a few things, especially on an and one they didn't give us. And we had our shots down in the end. We lost by 6. It was within 4 with 30 seconds. Again, we had to foul. So, and then Auburn, we finished out. We played a complete game. We beat them by almost 50 points. So that was a lot of fun for the guys to finish the season with.
Mm-hmm. And Derek, from the players' perspective, what did you feel in those 3 games?
We're a little disappointed. The Texas game was a game that we knew we had to come and play big in. And we did for the most part, but like Coach said, myself and one of our other key players got into some foul trouble. And in that time that we had to be out to make sure that we could finish the game was the difference in the game.
Yeah, but that win at the end, how good does that feel, especially that being the nightcap of day 2 and the crowd that's in there, to be able to finish off with a big win like that? How does that feel as a player?
It felt good to finish on the win. I mean, we went into that game with the mindset that we should have had all weekend long. After our first 2 losses, we weren't going to take a third, and that's how we should have approached the weekend. But it did feel good to finish out on a win like that.
And Coach Glatch, what do you have to say about just the university as a whole, of how they hosted and how this event went as a whole?
The university stepped up big, especially the athletic department. We got a lot of support from our Office for Students with Disabilities as well. But the crew in athletics, Bruce, Todd, Bob, Dave, Denise, they really, Gary Hanna and all his trainers, I mean, he rotated trainers in and out of there all weekend. I can't do my job, and it was a double job for the weekend event director and head coach. They took a lot of the pressure off. I thought it was a world-class event. They just, from that standpoint, and I know most of them would say, oh, well, this was an event you ran, but again, if it's not done. Kim Kennedy over at OSD offered a family reception, which I thought was really nice on Thursday and Friday. So we had a lot of parents come in for this, and the parents really seem to enjoy an opportunity to meet with each other. They have their sons here playing basketball, but they don't really get to know each other in the stands. They just get to cheer. So this was an opportunity for them. So overall, I thought it was a quality event. Obviously, I'm missing a lot of people that made this possible. Our table crew, Roger, all the volunteers. It was all Edinboro. We did get some support from the Erie Sports Commission, which was very nice. But at the end of the day, it was truly an Edinboro event, and it was done with an A+ effort.
Yeah, well, and then this being the end of the year, All-Americans were announced, and Derek, you're an academic honorable mention All-American. How important really is academics to this athletic cycle?
It's very important. I mean, we're student athletes. Without the academic side of it, we're not eligible to play. But it's important to me as the captain, and I'm also one of the older players in the group, to set an example. So I always try to maintain a high level of grades and a standard for academics so that some of the younger kids that come in see that it is possible and they can do it too as student athletes.
And to have one of your older team members be that leader academically and on the court, how does that help you?
Well, in practices, it's very easy. You'll hear players say, "Oh, I've got this too, I've got this too," and I just point to him and say, "Well, look at what he's doing. Look at what he's able to do. What he shies away from sometimes on the cameras to remind everybody he's also a husband and a father of 2. So he's not only a full-time student athlete with an incredible GPA, but he's also a parent. So, I throw that back in their face a little bit. And I think it's a good reminder for especially the younger or newer players to say, well, if he can do it, we can do it too. But, as Derek points out, we're coaching student athletes here. They are student athletes. And in order for a program to grow, you have to maintain high level of student athletes, both on and off the court. One of the areas that Edinboro has always struggled with is continually maintaining that high quality of student part to go with the athlete part. So we feel like we have a great mix going into the next season. We have probably 5 or 6 guys that are well over 3, and that makes it a lot easier to build a program.
And to end it on those young guys, with this tournament being over, looking a little ahead now to next season, and the young guys, being able to see them at this national tournament, what sort of confidence do you have moving forward with this team?
I have a great deal of confidence with it. I talked to both Bruce and Todd about this a little bit Monday and this morning. And I think the biggest thing is they want to be here. Some of them are in that academic situation. They're in a good place right now. The biggest test is going to be, what do they do with their off season? I tell the players all the time, it's your off season, it's going to build our next season. So in saying that, if these guys get into the gym and they do the workouts they're supposed to do, we're going to be in a great place. I was really excited, and Derek pointed this out a little bit, the mentality we showed up with in the Auburn game, and that's a mentality I hope will carry over to the next season. But I think that the 6 freshmen that dressed all have opportunities to have excellent seasons, better than what they did this year, and I think it was a great learning experience for them.
All right, well, we want to thank you both for joining us here today, and congratulations on a very good season.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, the Scots Sports Show will roll along right after this. Don't go anywhere.
NCAA Division II has much to cheer about, as nearly 100,000 student athletes compete with passion and pride. And I'm pleased to share the best news of all. Student athletes are outperforming the rest of the D2 student body in graduation rates. Just another reason why you'll hear us say with pride, I chose Division II. Learn more at d2sa.org.
Welcome back to the Scots Sports Show. We closed the door on one season and opened the door on another. We are now joined by track and field head coach Annie Carlson. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Let's start with that closing of the door with the indoor track and field season coming to a close, and Ida Narboval ran at the national championships, and she did very well.
Yes, Ida finished 9th overall, which is second team All-American. She also finished a spot above what she was projected. She went in ranked 10th, and she ran about a 4-second PR. So you can't ask for a better ending of the season. I know she would have liked to be in the top 8 and be a first-team All-American, and obviously that's always the goal when you go to the national meet. But when you run a PR, you can't ask for more than that. So it was excellent.
Yeah, the other thing with Ida is she was the top freshman there as well.
Mm-hmm.
So to know that you have her for multiple years upcoming, how much confidence does that give you as a coach?
Well, it's always good when our freshmen compete well. You know, we had a lot of freshmen compete well for us this year, so I think our future looks very bright.
All right, and now we're going to move to the outdoor season. The girls are still in good shape. What do you see from that girls team?
Our women had obviously an amazing conference meet. We far outscored everyone's expectations, which was excellent. Lucky for us, they kind of, I don't want to say they add more distance events, but the conference meet is outdoor conference meet is a little more spread out. We can use some of our distance girls a little more, which obviously will help us a lot. So, I mean, we're excited going into that, and, you know, we have some other kids that will step up. We'll add some other events. We'll add the javelin. We add the steeplechase. So we're very excited about what that brings for our women's team.
And then we also have the guys. They get to come back into the action. What have you seen from your guys' team leading up to the start of this season?
Well, they've ran in a couple meets, but unfortunately, you know, they're not running necessarily for the team. They're not running for anything. So we don't put a lot of that don't put a lot of weight on some of those meets and stuff, what they do. But practice has been going very well for a lot of our guys. Again, we have a lot of young guys, so we're excited to see what they can do this upcoming weekend when we're in Charlotte, when they put on the uniform really for the first time. So we're very excited about what's to come for us.
Yeah, and you mentioned upcoming this week is the UNC Charlotte 49er Classic. What do you hope to see out of your teams at this event?
Well, it's our first meet, obviously outdoors, so we're going to be running outdoors. Some of the events get a little longer and stuff. We go from running the 60 meters indoors to the 100 meters outdoors. We'll have some kids running 10Ks this weekend, which will be the first time, obviously, they've run that far. The farthest we run indoors is only a 5K. Our throwers are going to get to throw some different events, and doing some of the field events and stuff can be quite a bit different indoors than outdoors, even when they are the same field events. So I hope to see a lot of PRs. I hope to get a few kids on the national list just off the bat, and that can kind of set up the rest of our season. So we'll see.
Yeah, and you mentioned that there is a huge difference between indoor and outdoor track. How do you go approach with practice each day, doing that transition from indoor to outdoor track?
Well, like I said, some of the events and stuff get longer, so some of our distance kids have been running some longer things. We've started trying to get outdoors as much as possible, and obviously that can be hard with our weather and stuff, and we get spoiled with the dome, so when it's raining and stuff, even if it's not freezing out, our kids still want to be inside, and sometimes I do too. But we have to move them outside as much as possible. Like I said, our throwers especially, just because the throwing can be a lot different, trying to get them outdoors as much as possible. Obviously our hurdlers are going from running a 60 hurdle race over 5 hurdles to either running a 100-meter race or 110-meter race over 10 hurdles, so their race almost doubles. So we just kind of start making that transition as much as we can, getting the kids outside as much as we can.
For the outdoor track, we don't have every facility that we should have for this. So how do you go approaching those people for practice?
For example, our jumpers, the outdoor pits, we don't use them and stuff just because they're washed out with the snow and stuff like that, and obviously what we have indoor is amazing. So we do all of our jumping practices and stuff indoors, but we do try to get them outside when possible to do run-throughs, because that's different with the wind at your back or wind at your side than when you have no wind inside. They're running a lot of their workouts outside, so they get that. With some of our throwing things, we don't have a rubber-surfaced jav runway, but we can throw off the track onto the football field with a rubber tip jav. We're not throwing a real jav onto the football field, but we can kind of modify some of those things that way. So we make it work. I think sometimes they like that they don't have to be outside when it's raining and stuff, and I'm making everyone else go outside. But, we make it work, so.
All right, well, thank you so much for joining me here today.
You are welcome.
And we wish you the best of luck. The Scots Sports Show rolls along right after this break. Don't go anywhere.
There's one thing you can never have sex without.
It's not something you buy.
Or something you take.
In fact, there's only one way to get it.
It has to be given to you, freely.
It's consent.
Because sex without it isn't sex.
It's rape. Consent.
If you don't get it, you don't get it. It's on us to stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
We dig deep.
We overcome obstacles.
We come together.
We prepare.
We hit the ground running.
And we achieve our goals.
We train hard.
And we compete even harder.
We reach new heights.
We win.
And at Edinburgh University, we create champions on and off the field.
That's all the show we have for you today. But before we go, let's take a look at what's upcoming this week for Fighting Scots Athletics. The outdoor track and field season gets underway on the 17th as the women track and field team travel to Charlotte, North Carolina for the UNC Charlotte 49er Classic. Sean Russell, Pat Lugo, Austin Matthews, Vic Avery, Casey Fuller, and Billy Miller are your wrestlers going to the national championships starting this weekend on the 17th in New York City in the Big Apple for the national championship. We wish them the best of luck. The women's lacrosse team, they play Saturday afternoon against Bloomsburg. That's their first home match of the season. Also, the men's tennis team are in action on Saturday as they face Kutztown University. And then they're back in action the very next day against Bloomsburg. Both of those matches are in Erie, Pennsylvania. Thank you so much for watching. Go Borough, and we hope you have a fantastic day.